Hey everyone, Brendan Blind Guy here. Now let me break down the situations of today. So even when we do the zombie dance through the gorgeous nightmare that is life at times that tend to leave us feeling like we've got a hole inside 10 miles wide, we gotta remember every scar that makes us who we are because this war is ours and at the end of it, we will be invincible and unbreakable thanks to music and the people who bring it to us. And this one right here is one for the money and the rockin' good times. Because I give you Craig, the lead singer from US metal powerhouse Escape the Fate. How are you, Craig?
Hey, I'm great. That was the best intro I've ever heard, man. Good job.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. I do love my intros. So, okay, well, not long from now, starting June 5th in Sydney, you guys in Escape the Fate will be headed back down under to Australia, starting in Sydney, as I said, for the Redefined tour. So, now, a couple of dot points before I get into the questions of it. So this tour seems very interesting because it's to celebrate the new album Redefined, which is actually a Dead Rabbit album. Your side project exploring your more heavier, aggressive musical style that you didn't feel is maybe too suitable or fit in Escape the Fate. So how did that kind of come about to explore that album and why it didn't feel like it fit?
So the upcoming tour is, well, one, it's not the Redefined tour, and that album's just that's a Dead Rabbits album. That's not an Escape the Fate record.
Yeah,
But what that project is for me, it's just a musical outlet. You know, there can sometimes just be a little too many cooks in the kitchen when it comes to working on some Escape the Fate stuff. So sometimes I'll come up with something that I personally really love, and it just doesn't make the cut. And I'm able to just have this other outlet where I kind of just can do whatever it is that I want to do in the music. So it's a nice outlet to have. You know, I don't like to sit and not do anything for too long because then I get stuck up in my head and I don't
yeah,
like being up there.
yep.
So I like to keep myself busy. So anytime there's kind of gaps between tours or gaps between studio time when it comes to Escape the Fate, I'm able to, still work on something else.
So since you guys were, um, well, you were here in 2024 for Knotfest, which I caught you guys there, but your last headline tour was actually April 2023 before the Out of the Shadows album hit in September 2023, if I'm correct. And so that was also the first album for new members Maddie and Eric on lead guitar and bass, respectively. So, is the focus of the upcoming tour kind of to shine some light on Out of the Shadows to promote that as well as mixing in some good old classics, or kind of what's the.
Yeah, that was definitely Maddie's first album. Eric, on the other hand, Eric had been with the band for a number of years before that, but he kind of stepped into the light a little more. It was like, okay, Eric's officially with us because for the years
Yeah,
before that, he kind of it was just a hired gun sort of member, but he's been absolutely great and now he's such a um strong member of the band, writes most of the stuff, now plays guitar with Maddie. So Out of the Shadows was definitely Eric and Maddie's opportunity to shine respectfully. And I think they both did a fantastic job. And I think they both did an even greater job on this upcoming album. The song that's currently streaming from that album is Deja Vu. We'll have another brand new song dropping by the end of this month, I believe. So just in time for the Australian tour. And then we're also going to be playing two more unreleased songs in our sets for
ooh,
the Australian tour from the upcoming album. And we're still discussing right now how to fill the rest of the set up with some bangers that people would expect to hear at an Escape the Fate show, maybe some deep cuts as well that we don't normally play all too often, as well as these brand new songs. So, we're trying to bring it
Hmm.
and make it exciting because we absolutely love coming to Australia and we want to make sure we always have the opportunity to return. And even, I'm trying to plan something special with Telly and the Word Alive as well. So it'll definitely be a
Nice.
fun tour.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I definitely put my vote into here, Zombie Dance. That song, I know it is so like underappreciated and so underrated, but I absolutely love that song, Zombie Dance.
Oh, I
So,
love that song too. I'll definitely tell the guys that's one we could totally throw in there. So I will let them
yeah,
know. So thanks for letting me know, Brendan. Hopefully
yeah,
we're able to add
nice.
that. And I agree with you that I feel like that song had a lot more potential, but such is the trials of being an artist. Sometimes you
Yeah,
release songs that you think are great and the reception isn't as great as you expected or wanted it to be. And sometimes there's songs where you're like, I don't know what people are going to think about this. And it ends up being your highest stream song of all time, like One for the
yeah,
Money.
yeah,
When we were in the
yeah.
studio for that, I'm like, I don't know about this one, guys. And now I have a platinum plaque on my wall for One for the Money. So at the end of the
Wow.
day, do I really know what I'm talking about? I guess not.
Yep. That's kind of me every day. Like, yeah, people, does it look like I've got my shit together? Yeah, nah, nah.
Uh huh. We're all just trying our best, man.
Yep. Yeah, that's all anyone can ever ask. Yeah,
Exactly.
sweet. So you mentioned, yeah, that you'll be touring with the word alive. So
Mhm.
have you been long-term friends with the word alive, and how did that kind of come about of you guys going, hey, let's tour Australia together?
Well, yeah, I've been a long time friend of the Word Alive. Before the Word Alive even officially released their first album, which was obviously Telly, it's Telly's band. It was a local Arizona band that I had started. So
Ah,
that's where the relationship originally began. So Telly and I have known each other for quite a long time now. 18, 20, something like that. 18 to 20
yeah.
years. I want
Wow.
to say it's been a very long time. So we're excited to be coming to Australia together. That's always fun. We had a good time last time that the stars aligned and it was able to be Escape and the Word Alive together was at a festival in the Philippines a couple
Ooh,
years back, and we had a great time there. I joined Telly on stage to do one of the older songs that I did with the Word Alive back in the day. So we're talking about doing that again for the Australian fans during this tour. So it'll be fun,
nice.
man.
Yeah, that's epic. And so you mentioned a new album in the works for Escape the Fate. So
Hmm.
you guys have explored so many kind of subgenres of the metal, umbrella genre, which is amazing. So, what kind of directional approach are you taking? What kind of flavor and energy does this unreleased album that you're working on kind of look like it has?
There's only one word I can think of to describe it, and it would be reinvigorated.
Ah,
Would be the word. We're definitely trying out some new things, and it to me sounds like classic, This War Is Ours era, Escape the Fate, just a mix of all the best stuff over the years from This War Is Ours to the self-titled. Even some fans can hear that. I go online and I read a couple comments when we release new stuff. And with Deja Vu, I've seen some fans go, this is giving me deja vu of the self-titled album. I'm like, that's great because that was our attempt. We want to kind of take the best of every album and kind of meld it into one, but also make it cohesive and modern. And I think we were able to achieve that. And we had so much fun in the studio creating these songs and now playing, four of them just on this last tour stateside with Lacuna Coil. They feel even better to play live. So we're just eager and excited to continue playing those songs for new crowds and new areas of the world and, start locking in the release date of this next record.
yes, very, very cool. I'm keen for that. So, yeah, right. Yeah. So I've seen you guys, well, not literally being blind, but I've been to, heard you guys and felt the energy of your shows a few times in the past, and so like you guys are labeled as one of the best live bands of your genre in this era, which I'd have to agree. So
Wow, that's great.
what do you think? So like what do you think from your perspective? What what energy and feel do you guys bring fans that may kind of add to that title?
I wish I had the answer because if I had the answer, I could make sure that every single show was the absolute best live show we've ever done. But I just get lost in it, man. And I'm like an energy vampire. I feed off of the energy that the crowd is giving back to the band. So the more that the crowd is into it, the more I end up getting into it. And that's not to say that if there's no energy there, then I just kind of give up and I'm giving a bullshit performance. It's just that I just feel more energy when I'm getting that from the crowd. And so I just kind of enter this plane of I just get lost in the music
Yeah,
and the show and I kind of don't even know what I'm doing. If I start thinking about what I'm doing, I'll do it wrong. So it's
yeah,
like I just go in this autopilot mode and it's amazing. And still to this day, anytime I look down at the front of the crowd and I see somebody singing along, uh, to our songs, it's just a nice reminder to me of when I was breaking my ribs in the front row at my first concert and singing along to the band that was playing. And I just had this spark of a dream of one day doing it myself. And so anytime that happens, it's a reminder of, hey, you're doing something right. You should be grateful
yeah,
that you're here. And this is an amazing moment. So when you go out on tour to be able to have that night by night by night is such a blessing.
yeah. Wow. And I would imagine the energy drop of like when you get it, as you said, like getting lost in the moment and you're on such a high, and then you go to like you either get home or go to this quiet hotel room and just going from cloud nine to then, like silence. That must be like a holy shit feeling like you're on a different planet or something. It must be weird, like where what goes up must come down, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, it's definitely weird, and I struggled with that sort of come down for many years. I always had to be surrounded by a bunch of people, and I always had to have a drink in my hand, and I always had to be doing something and actively having conversations or whatever it may be because I didn't like being alone and stuck up in my own
Yeah,
head. And these days I've learned how to live with that. I've learned how to appreciate all these different moments of life. Like I'm so grateful to be on stage and play music. Now I'm off stage. I'm so grateful to be, surrounded by a crew and a band that we all have the same passion and we're all just excited to be here. And oh, I'm so grateful to have a roof over my head and a hotel room with a bed and some comfortable pillows and I can get some rest tonight. So it's just
yeah,
all about putting things into perspective, and counting your blessings and just being grateful for everything that you have.
yeah. That's a really good approach and very mature of you. Like, and so yeah, well done.
Thank you.
So yeah, so I'm a vocalist as well. Like, obviously very amateur, and like yet to do any recordings and show the world what I can do, and um. But I do as well a mixture of melodic and screaming vocals. And so I would love your thoughts on how you kind of train your vocals and keep them um keep your vocals nice and healthy, because of your intense screams that you do is absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
How do you do that and like not rip your throat absolutely raw every single night to the point where you're coughing up blood?
Well, warm ups are important. Warm downs are also important. And I'm saying that as advice and also to remind myself, Craig, those things are important. Make sure you continue to do those things. Water is your best friend. You know, make sure you're staying hydrated. Um, and we're all just trying our best. Like I said earlier, you know, it's like I can't push myself too hard. When I was first learning how to do this stuff, there was no names for the different types of screaming that I was doing. There wasn't this inhale, fry, scream. I don't even know what they all are called. But back when I was trying to do it, there was no names for it. So it was just like do what feels comfortable. And when I really started coming into myself was when I let go of trying to sound like my favorite vocalist at the time. You know, if you're consistently trying to sound like someone else, you're never going to find your voice. So you have to be comfortable with what it is that you do and do what you do the best that you can do it. And that's when you'll really find your voice. And again, confidence is also key. You know, you can't say, "Oh, I'm just a mediocre singer," because there's so many singers, especially in rock and metal music. If they were to go on The Voice, do you think they're winning The Voice? I mean, think of all the bands that are out there. But there's a lot of voices out there that are just so unique and they do what they do the best to their abilities and it works great for them. And that's all you got to do. I still to this day, after 20 years, I'm just playing along. I still don't think I'm that great of a singer, but I go up there and I just do my thing anyway, you know, and that's what people connect with. They connect with the energy and they connect with what you're trying to say. And that's what makes it beautiful.
Thank you. That is some like really, really good advice for me personally, and I'm sure for many fans out there. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it.
Sweet. Okay, so a couple more questions before we wrap things up. So you guys have been through so many phases in the Escape the Fate career, from back in MySpace, then transitioning to all the new social medias, TikTok and everything, and all the streaming, and doing the Vans Warp Tour, lineup changes and everything, and you're still staying strong and on top of your game, doing the best you can at the end of it all. So, what's been the hardest thing over the years to kind of sustain, and how, through all the different phases and challenges in your career, how how is it that you guys haven't thrown the towel in and given up and come out the other side, you know, fish
Mm-hmm.
swinging?
Well, you know, if we're talking about from back in the day, it's just me and Robert have the same dreams, the same goals, the same passion. And we just don't know what else it is we would do with our lives. Like this is music is who we are, you know, it's in our souls. So we just stay consistent. We just keep doing it because we need it. You know, we need this music. Um, and that's been the biggest driving force behind it. And it's obviously hard uh, to go through member changes. You know, I had dreams when I first wanted to be in a band of wanting to be in a band that started in the garage together, and one day, you know, they're selling out arenas and you know everybody's putting their hands in the middle and let's go, and you kind of grew together. And over the years, as people kind of fall by the wayside and you go through those changes, it is very difficult, but you just have to try your best to stay true to yourself and just keep doing it. And one of the biggest factors of why Escape the Fate is still able to be around today, I personally think has nothing to do with any of us individually. I think it has to do with there is still a fan base that supports us and is hungry for new music and is hungry to come out to the shows. You know, we might not be selling out the biggest rooms or anything like that, but there is still a rabid, active fan base. And I'd have to give all of the credit to the fans as to why we're still here after so long and still able to make new music. So, big
Yeah.
thank you to all the Escape the Fate fans out there.
Yeah, wow. That's epic. Ah. Okay, well, now I reckon it's time we get exclusive, Craig. Just me and you. Oh,
Oh, is
and
these the surprise questions?
yes, they are.
Oh.
Yep, my favorites. So, what would you say is a really random but awesome, interesting, exclusive fun fact about yourself that you think fans might find interesting?
Ooh, fun fact about myself that fans
Could
might
be
find interesting.
absolutely, absolutely random, interesting. Is this something that, wouldn't be able to find too easily out there by doing a quick Google search?
Well, with the internet and social media, I feel like I wear everything on my sleeve, so I don't think there's anything too crazy, but I'll try to answer it by connecting something to the new songs we're playing. I'm a
Yeah.
big video game fan, huge
Ooh.
gaming nerd. I stream on Twitch when I'm not on tour. So if anybody in Australia wants to check it out, it's twitch.tv/ Craig Mabbitt, two B's, two T's.
Yeah.
And so I was currently playing a game called Expedition 33 during the writing process of this album. And one of the songs we play live, the chorus was inspired by a line from that game. So that's a fun fact that
Ooh.
connects to the new music. So that'll be my answer.
I love it. That is very interesting and juicy. Absolutely love it. Okay, but now it's time for my absolute favorite question of all. That's right, people. It's what the fuck time. So, Craig, you must have plenty of hilarious, priceless moments that make you go, seriously, what the fuck just happened? So, what's the one that really takes the cake that is the most hilarious, priceless, what the fuck of them all?
Oh my gosh. I don't know how to answer that because I don't know which one takes the cake as to one that trumps them all.
But what's the
There
first
seems to
one
be
that
a
comes to
crazy
mind?
what the fuck moment every single tour, it seems like. So I've just gotten so used to having that what the fuck feeling. But for some reason, one is popping in my head right now, one specifically. I don't know if it's because we're talking about tours and we just got finished with a tour, but the song Ungrateful. So we just did the Lacuna Coil tour. We decided to open our set for that tour with Ungrateful. No intro song, just go straight into it. Now, I was so scared prior to this tour because one of our what the fuck moments, we were doing a radio festival in Arizona, 98 KUPDU Fest, I believe it was. And we decided to start that festival set with Ungrateful. So we hadn't done anything since this what the fuck moment. Robert's ears went out. Now, if you're familiar with Ungrateful, that song just immediately starts trying to tear me apart. Everything just balls to the wall right at the beginning. Robert's ears went out. He took his ears out, decided he wasn't going to play anything because his ears weren't working. First song of the set. So all you hear is ding, 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 ding from the guitars and me going, try to what the fuck? I think I literally audibly said, what the fuck? And everybody just stopped playing. The crowd very, very confused because we just walked out on stage and we're trying to like just gung ho it and go straight into it. And it did not work out in the slightest. So I think I ended up turning it around with my classic, all right, everybody on three, let's say, fuck you, Robert, to try to take the attention off of our major, major fuck up. So yeah, that was a big what the fuck moment that popped in my head when you asked it. And we ended up
Wow.
doing it for that Lacuna Coil tour, and every night it was great. It didn't
Uh,
happen again, but that whole tour, I was so scared that it was going to happen again, and it didn't. So hats off to you,
oh,
Robert.
that is awesome. Thanks for sharing that, and yeah, well done for thinking of that on the fly with no heads up before the interview. Ah, well, it has been an absolute treat chatting to you today, Craig. Honestly, I could talk for hours and hours. There's so many other questions I could think of, but you're a busy man, and I guess I'm a little bit busy too. Thanks so much, Craig. I can't wait.
All right. Thank you so much, Brendan, for having me. I'll see you in Sydney, man.